Welcome back to Bias Predictions and week 19 of the Premier League. Right. So last week got about 50% of the predictions correct. 7 of the 10 player predictions were correct. 6 of the match predictions were correct. Match stat predictions. I got 5 correct results and 2 correct scores. Ironically, the first match that I'm going to discuss, this is where I got all 4 predictions correct for both matches. Arsenal versus Villa. Yeah, if there was ever a game that was swayed massively by my bias, it's going to be this one. Villa, of course, are my side, but not only that, we're in competition with Arsenal for the league. So the normal -1 on Arsenal would probably be even more heightened because of what this game would mean. Although there is more pressure on Arsenal than there is Villa. So moving on to the predictions, I do believe Villa will continue their run and against Arsenal. I see Arteta being frustrated by Emery here. Arteta has only lost more games to Pep than Emery as far as other managers go. Emery really does have his number. I expect Villa to contain, and by doing that, there will probably be a lot of pressure from Arsenal, as I expect to be dominated by Arsenal. I've put McGinn to commit a foul because Villa lost Matty Cash on the right, so I expect him to do a lot more covering in this game. So I'm going 1-0 Villa unapologetically. Next up, Burnley versus Newcastle. Newcastle got a win on this one. These are all repeats of week 15 games. So they've all played recently. Newcastle won at St James's Park 2-1. But I expect this one to be tighter, although, to be honest, I don't really see how Burnley score here. So I expect Voltemada to continue his good form and probably get the winning goal. Newcastle really struggled to score against Manchester United. And they are struggling away from home, but Burnley should be a winnable game for them. I expect them to pressure most of the game. As I've said before many times, Burnley rarely win the corner battle. Next one, Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth haven't won for ages, if I recall correctly. They're on a really bad run at the moment. So as much as I would want Bournemouth to win this one, I really think that this is probably going to be a 2-1 Chelsea win. Both teams are actually quite, dirty teams. I mean, Chelsea like to get a lot of cards. Bournemouth are very high on the foul count. I'm going to go for Bournemouth to edge the fouls because I expect Chelsea to be comfortable for most of this game. So I expect Bournemouth to probably need to push a bit more. Hammer should be good for a shot on target. He dominated the play against Villa. No idea why they subbed him, but yeah, he'll be Chelsea's main threat. Moving on, Nottingham Forest versus Everton. There were a lot of games this week that I was kind of not very positive on either side, and this is another one really. I don't mind both sides, so I find like this is quite a neutral take on this. I think Everton got a lot of players missing at the moment, and Forest need to start making their home a fortress like they did last season. And this is where I think they'll get the 1-0 win. I expect Everton to probably get more cards just because of pushing, really. Forest are one of those teams that frustrate you with their physical game, but can often be smart around the cards area. So Forest to edge this 1-0. I wouldn't be surprised if Igor Jesus gets the goal, but he'll at least have a shot on target. Great signing for them. West Ham versus Brighton. To be honest, this is another one where I don't trust Brighton away from home, and West Ham have just been very woeful all season. The one thing you can guarantee, Owen will get a shot on target. He knows how to hit the target. So there's that. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think it'll be a real battle. And I think some cards will come out for this because I think both teams are really scrapping for this one. Manchester United versus Wolves. Now, as much as my bias is massively against Manchester United, I actually don't mind Wolves. They're not Birmingham City. So I would love to say that this is going to be a Wolves win. Reality is, even though United, if you look at United's sub bench in this game, they're going to have hardly anybody on it. But their first team is strong enough to get a 2-0 win here. I expect Wolves to set out how they did against Arsenal and Villa and frustrate. So they went out and tried to play Man United at Molineux. That didn't work out well for them. So I think that they'll come to Old Trafford and frustrate more than anything. So I expect it to be 2-0. I expect United to get the most shots. They pretty much take the most shots in the whole Premier League. So even if they weren't against the worst team in the league. Ugarte is going to be in the thick of it, and he really is a little bit off the pace. So you will probably see him mistime a few tackles and commit at least one foul. Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Now, obviously, I prefer Fulham, and maybe that might have led me to go for a Fulham win. But I think Palace are very strong at home, and they, even though they look really tired, they seem to be getting results and performances. Well, maybe not results, but they're certainly showing a lot more than I expected. And I don't think they'll have a good January, but I think they'll get a 1-1 draw here. And Mateta needs to get his shooting boots back on, and I think this will be one where he'll go a bit more of a threat, I think, and expect Palace to have the most shots here. Liverpool versus Leeds. Yeah, you can see there's a lot of red there. I'm not really a big fan of either team. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is in brilliant form. However, I expect Liverpool to shore up their team a bit more than they did in the 3-3 draw in week 15. So I'm expecting a 2-0 win for Liverpool. Leeds will battle for this. More cards, that wouldn't be a surprising thing with it, really, for Leeds. But Ekitike has been in good form. I'm surprised he didn't hit the target last game, but he will do this one. Otherwise, I'm not going to put it on for my next prediction. Brentford at home, fourth best team at home behind the top three. Spurs are very good away, though. So this is a tough one to decide. I've decided to go for a 1-1 draw. Spurs are starting to find their feet in the Premier League. I expect them to grind out a 1-1 draw, not playing champagne football. I expect Thomas Frank to have some knowledge on his old club. Yeah, this will be a battle. 4 or more cards. Thiago has been in scintillating form this season, so he'll have another shot on target at least. Sunderland, Man City. Now that actually looks like I don't like Sunderland at all. Obviously, as a Villa fan with Man City 1 point ahead of us, I would rather have a Sunderland home victory. But I've gone for a 0-0 draw here. I really think playing at Sunderland is one of the hardest games in the league at the moment. And I expect Man City to spend all game peppering that goal. 2 shots, 10 shots on target for Ireland wouldn't surprise me. But they are defending brilliantly. I don't expect Sunderland to get at the other end of the pitch that much. And less than 6 Sunderland corners worked last week. Let's go again. So that's my predictions for this week. Let me know in the comments, drop a like and a subscribe, and let me know what your predictions are. Do you think my bias has affected this too much? I got 50% of my predictions right last week. Let's see if I can get more this week. Let's go.